In the headlines, Reps Committee rejects Naira swap extension, threatens Emefele's arrest. Macban others demand probe into herders' killings in Nasarawa. Edo confirms 115 Lassa fever cases as deaths rise to 13. And on the international scene, dozens injured in blast at busy mosque in Pakistan, Peshawar. Hello and welcome to News Update on Trust TV. I am Sagir Ibrahim. Hello and welcome once again. The House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on the redesign of the Naira notes has rejected the 10 days extension granted by the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) for the swap of old 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira bank notes. In a statement on Sunday, the chairman of the committee and the majority leader of the House, Alhassan Ado Dogwa, said the Green Chamber will proceed and sign an arrest warrant to compel the CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, to appear before the committee. According to him, the new Naira redesign policy is capable of frustrating the forthcoming 2023 general elections. Dogwa noted that the committee would continue its work until it gets the demands of Nigerians addressed in accordance with the laws of the land. Meanwhile, the minority caucus in the House of Representatives applauded the Central Bank of Nigeria for listening to Nigerians and extending the deadline for swapping the old Naira notes for new ones by 10 days. They also urged the CBN to remain focused and intensify its sensitization efforts while putting every measure in place to assist Nigerians, especially those in the rural areas, to access the new Naira notes. Also, the Department of State Services (DSS) says it has intercepted some members of the organized syndicate involved in the sale of the new redesigned Naira notes. Public Relations Officer, Department of State Services National Headquarters, Abuja, Peter Afunanya, in a press release said the discovery was made in the course of its operations, adding that it was established by some commercial bank officials aiding the economic maleficence. Consequently, the service wants the currency racketeers to desist from the ignoble act. The statement urged appropriate regulatory authorities to step up monitoring and supervisory activities to expeditiously address the emerging trends. And also, barely 24 hours after advising President Muhammadu Buhari against his scheduled state visit to Kano State, Governor Abdullahi Ganduje says the state is now prepared to receive him. The governor led a delegation of critical stakeholders from the state to meet with President Buhari in his country home in Daura, Katsina State on Sunday, after which he revealed the change of the position to correspondents. Take a look.
The Kano State government had written to the president to ask that he postpone his state visit to Kano on Monday because it was deeply concerned about the hardship principally induced by the ongoing cash swap from old to redesigned notes. The decision was taken to avoid any unforeseen circumstances. Despite the governor's objection, President Buhari had, however, insisted on going ahead with the Monday visit. On Sunday, the governor led a delegation to discuss the issue with the president.
I have led a powerful delegation from Kano State on the issue of new Naira notes. And we have seen Mr. President. We have laid the complaint of the Kano people, and we are very, very happy. He explained to us, and also he assured us that the time is extended and the quantity of Naira, new Naira, the quantity will increase.
The lingering question is, why would the state government author such a letter?
Kano is the most populous state in the federation and also the commercial nerve center of the northern part of Nigeria, second to Lagos. But in terms of cash transaction, Kano is much higher than Lagos because Lagos has gone far in terms of cashless society, cashless transaction. But Kano State being comparatively, a rural place, so to say, still we have 24 local government without banks. And most of the banks are concentrated within Kano Metropolitan.
In other words, it's all because of the people.
So you can imagine the suffering of the rural areas, rural people in terms of cash transaction. But we are happy that the time has been extended, and also the quantum of the Naira notes will be increased.
With that cleared up, the president will go ahead with his state visit on Monday, where he is expected to commission federal and state projects. Tracking the president in Daura, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
Still on the Naira redesign, residents of Gombe State are taking advantage of the extension of old Naira note circulation announced by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to get the new bank notes. Trust TV's Ibrahim Ismail, who visits Bajoga, one of the largest commercial hubs in Gombe State, reports that residents and business operators form long queues to access the CBN's cash swap program. Take a look.
Rushing to swap their old Naira notes with the newly redesigned notes, the residents and business operators in Bajoga, Funakai local government area of Gombe State form queues for the new notes. It is not different in Ashaka, where residents battle the scarcity of the new notes and struggle to swap their old notes. It took the intervention of the CBN before the cash swap program take effect. Scarcity of the redesigned notes is a challenge, and we have deposited the old notes, but I'm happy now because they swapped the sum of 10,000 Naira for me. They swapped the old Naira notes with the new ones for me. I have been trying to get some cash for a long time, and the ATM has a long queue. But I'm happy when I heard about the swap, and I came here and got the new Naira notes. Some of these people queuing to withdraw the redesigned notes at ATM machines have spent hours, making life difficult.
Sure, everything is going okay. We are enjoying the thing, but seriously, we don't get plenty money here. That's the problem. People are suffering here.
Meanwhile, CBN team could be seen monitoring commercial banks to ensure availability of the redesigned notes. With the extensions of the deadline to 10th February 2023, it is a great opportunity for Nigerians to deposit their old Naira notes at the commercial banks to avoid any financial loss. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
And in Jos, mixed reactions are trailing the Central Bank of Nigeria's extension of the deadline for the swap of old Naira notes to February 10th. Prior to the extension period, many Nigerians, particularly vulnerable ones, had criticized the decision to enforce the expiration of the validity of the old notes by January 31st. But even with the lifeline, some residents believe the 10-day extension is not enough. Ado Musa completes the story.
Soon after the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, announced the extension for the collection of the old Naira notes, business activities started to pick up in Jos. Before the announcement of the new date, many traders had closed down business centers, paralyzing activities because the new Naira notes were not available to transact their businesses. Jos residents are, however, expressing divergent views on the development. While some are saying the extension was a welcome development, some are of the view that the February 10 was not enough, calling on the federal government to give more time. Our prayers have been that let the federal government extend the deadline because many of us will lose our hard-earned money. We are happy that the deadline has been extended. Our customers are not collecting the old note as change. We are happy with the development. We are happy with the extension of the deadline. This is good for everyone. But for me, 10 days is not enough because wherever you go in this country, people are crying for fear of losing their money. We hope that the government will listen to poor Nigerians to extend the date. I take this hardship as a test by God. That is what Allah has permitted to happen. I don't want to blame anyone. People were passing different comments. Some were even saying federal government will not extend the date. Now it has been extended. I'm happy about it. The central bank had last year introduced redesigned 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes and gave a deadline of 31st January 2023 for swapping of the old notes. However, the Apex Bank's governor cautioned that people must utilize the opportunity because the deadline will not be extended again. The question is, would Nigerians be able to meet the new deadline? Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Away from that, the federal government has been urged to investigate the killings of about 40 herders in an airstrike believed to have been carried out by the military at Rukubi village in Doma local government area of Nasarawa State last week. The Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, MACBAN, on Sunday demanded an explanation for the killings, which it described as intentional. In a statement by its spokesperson, Muhammad Nura Abdullahi, MACBAN condemned the silence of the federal government and the military on the incident. In its reaction, the Ariwa Consultative Forum, in a statement by its Secretary General Murtala Aliyu, demanded the arrest and prosecution of the perpetrators. According to the ACF, the death of one person in a serious country is enough to attract the attention and intervention of the government. Also, the Northern Consensus Movement (NCM) called on the federal government to pay compensation to the families of the slain pastoralists. The group's president, Awal Abdullahi Aliyu, at a news briefing in Kaduna on Sunday, asked the National Assembly to ensure the incident is not swept under the carpet. The group also threatened to sue Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom. Similarly, the Executive Secretary of the National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, Anthony Ojukwu, SAN, on Sunday called for justice for the victims. Ojukwu said officers found to be negligent must be held accountable under the laws of the country. And also, the chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association section on Public Interest Law, SPIDO, Onyekachi Ubani, said the families of the victim must be compensated if it is established to be an accidental bombing. And also, Governor Samuel Ortom of Benue State on Sunday said he and his Ebonyi State counterpart, Governor David Umahi, were working assiduously to end hostilities between communities at the borderline of both states. Ortom said this during the Thanksgiving Mass for the official commissioning of a Catholic parish house built at Holy Cross Parish, Ogbolokuta Ulayi, in the Ado local government area of the state. He noted that for the hostilities between the people of the Eza community of Ado local government and Ebonyi State, he was working in collaboration with Governor David Umahi to end the incessant conflict between the two brothers. The governor further disclosed that the peace meeting between the two state governments will be held in the area as a show of commitment to bring the crisis to a stop to enable people return to their homes. He said that the Eza people, though Igbo-speaking, are bona fide indigenes of Benue State and must be protected by the government. And in politics, Professor Christopher Imumole, the Accord Party's presidential candidate, has promised to transform education and the economy if elected. At a campaign event in Lagos, Imumole emphasized education as a top priority, adding that the party aims to re-engineer the economy and drive industrial process. The Accord presidential candidate stated that he believes that underdevelopment can be addressed through leadership change. He also pledged to include women and youth in the party's welfare initiatives, as well as ensure that they are effectively carried along.
The only way to change the concept of the underdevelopment of our country today is to change the leadership. I mean political leadership. Nigerians must begin to think of new leaders who have demonstrated passion and value in their personal endeavor.
If PDP gives you money, collect it, vote for Accord. If PDP give you money, collect it, vote for Accord, because they suffer you so much, they lie so much. This time is not about lie. This is the game-changing time.
And in health, the death recorded from Lassa fever in Edo State has risen to 13 as confirmed cases climbed to 115 since the outbreak of the disease in the state. The State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akoria Obehi, who disclosed this to journalists in Benin over the weekend, said the fatality figures from Lassa fever has risen. According to him, the government is stepping up efforts to contain the disease across communities in local government areas in the state. While noting that the state is adequately prepared and equipped to handle reported cases of Lassa fever, Professor Akoria charged the people who experience symptoms such as severe headache, vomiting and high fever, among others, to rush to the nearest healthcare facility for treatment. You're watching News Update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, we take a look at why Kaduna residents are reverting to charcoal as an alternative for cooking. Stay with us.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
At last, the elections are here. Let's turn out en masse on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as President of Nigeria for a renewed hope and a better Nigeria. Vote APC, the party that shows a broom.
Media Trust Group, in collaboration with the Center for Democracy and Development, presents the 2023 Kano gubernatorial debate, featuring candidates of 4 major political parties: Nasir Yusuf Gawuna of the APC, Bashir Ishaq Bashir of the Labour Party, Abba Kabir Yusuf of the NMPP, and Muhammad Abacha of the PDP. Date: Saturday, 4th February 2023. Time: 10 a.m. Venue: Bayer University Kano New Site. The event is strictly by invitation and no political supporters are expected at the venue.
I will be there.
I will be there.
I will be there.
Media partners: Express Radio 90.3 FM, Nasara Radio 98.5 FM, Freedom Radio, and ARTV Kano. The debate will be broadcast live on Trust TV and other channels across the country.
The FCT administration strongly joins its voice to condemn in its entirety the nefarious activities of killer code groups existing in our communities and schools, which runs contrary to social norms and values, especially the wanton attacks and most times killings of innocent citizens and destabilizing public peace, as well as destruction of property. This is why the FCT administration is appealing to parents, guardians, community and religious leaders to join the FCT authority to eradicate cultism and bullying out of our communities and schools, especially in the Federal Capital Territory. Anyone caught in this unwholesome, barbaric and uncivilized act will be dealt with in accordance with the law. The FCT administration, under the leadership and watch of the Honorable Ministers, will not allow cultism and bullying in the territory. To be forewarned is to be forearmed.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching News Update on Trust TV. Now a recap of our top stories. Reps Committee rejects Naira swap extension, threatens Emefiele's arrest. And also, MACBA and others demand probe into herders' killings in Nasarawa. Moving on to other stories now, former Deputy President of the Senate, Ike Ekweremadu, will on Tuesday appear again in court in the United Kingdom, where he has been accused of human trafficking. The lawmaker was in June 2022 arrested at Heathrow Airport in London after Staines Police Station received a report from a young man claiming to have been trafficked into the UK. While the lawmaker has been in custody since June 23, his wife, Beatrice, who was arrested with him, was granted bail by a criminal court in London shortly after their arrest. The case against the lawmaker, which had been slated for May, was later scheduled for January 31st. The 60-year-old, who denied the allegations against him, will again appear before the High Court Judge, Justice Johnson. And as part of efforts to save the environment against challenges caused by global warming, experts want the federal government to make electricity more available in order to discourage the cutting of trees for charcoal, as the practice is harmful to the environment. Now, the call follows the rising cost of gas and kerosene across the nation. Take a look at this report.
Charcoal is now beginning to replace other cooking sources, as many are shifting from using kerosene and gas to charcoal. The shift is as a result of the persistent increase in the price of cooking gas, kerosene, as many households try to save cost.
At least it's economical. The charcoal is economical compared to the gas. Like now, if I refuel maybe 1 kg, 1 kg cannot boil my tomato, boil my beans, boil my rice. If I do these 3 on 1 kg, it will not give me better. Charcoal of 400 naira, it will boil all of this and it will even remain.
Number of people who come to buy charcoal is increasing every day. But for scientists and climate analyst Abubakar Shafiu, the society uses charcoal at the expense of environmental safety.
Charcoal itself has caused disaster to the environment, because before charcoal is produced, the ozone layer has been depleted. Reason is because at the process of the production of that charcoal, there is the ecosystem is already disrupted.
Inadequate electricity supply and cost of cooking gas are some of the factors responsible for the excessive use of charcoal for cooking. In order to rescue the environment from deforestation for charcoal purposes, Shafi'i calls on the government to improve electricity supply.
The only way out of that, in order not to cause havoc or disaster to the environment or the climate itself, is for us to go into technology. Technology is just the way out, in the sense that electric stove can be made available as another way to replace the charcoal stove. But then the government has to look for a way to see how electricity can be generated.
Although charcoal has become the preferred means of cooking among many Nigerians due to the economic hardship, many say sustained use of charcoal will do more harm to the environment than good. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Thanks to Bello Musa for that report. Also, the federal government has assured that it will not breach data privacy of any Nigerian or resident of the country because it can compromise national security. The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Pantami, who disclosed this in Abuja at the weekend, said the Nigerian Data Protection Bureau was established to protect the citizens from such exploitation and to warn of dangers inherent in excessive exposures to some applications. It also warned Nigerians against excessive exposure to different applications on their phones, saying a lot of international organizations are exploiting and extorting citizens of their hard-earned monies through applications that are fully commercialized and without the user's knowledge and approvals. The minister said the government had taken proactive measures through various legislations to protect citizens' data and ensure their rights were not compromised, as the volume of data being generated in the cyberspace was becoming humongous every day. Pantami warned that citizens' data breaches could compromise national security, adding that Nigerians' value for the data protection industry had hit 5.5 billion naira. And on the foreign scene, dozens of people have been wounded in an explosion at a mosque in the northwestern Pakistani city of Peshawar, according to authorities. Police official Sikandar Khan on Monday said the blast took place at the mosque where a large number of people had gathered for prayers. A spokesman for the Lady Reading Hospital in Peshawar, Mohammed Asim, said they had received 90 injured people, some of them in critical condition. A 38-year-old police officer, Mina Gul, said he was inside the mosque when the bomb went off. He said he doesn't know how he survived unhurt. Gul said there were more than 150 worshippers inside the mosque when the bomb went off. No one immediately claimed responsibility for the bombing. And in sports, coach Kabiru Dogo of Wiki Tourist FC of Bauchi has been issued a 2-match ultimatum by the management of the club. This was contained in a letter addressed to the coach and signed by the club secretary Adamu Idris Pali on Sunday after the team played 0-0 with the newly promoted Doma United. Wiki Tourists are yet to get any victory in the current season. They have lost 3 out of their 4 games and a draw. And with that, we've come to the end of News Update at this hour. Do well to follow us across all our media platforms. I'm Sagir Ibrahim. Thanks for watching.